Hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of That Real Estate Tech Guy. My name's Jordan Samuel Fleming, and I'm the host. And today I'm delighted to welcome Stephanie Betters from Left Main REI. She's kind of a returning champion in many ways to the podcast. She was on in the original run of the series, and she's back again because so much has changed in the world since we last recorded. So much has changed in the technology available to real estate investors in general. Now, Stephanie, if you don't know her, is the whiz behind Left Main REI, which is a phenomenal CRM for real estate investors. And they've also recently launched Deal Signals, which is an AI data tool embedded into the platform, which is absolutely phenomenal. And this conversation is really good because it sort of dives very succinctly into two parts of what makes Stephanie's businesses really tick. We dive a bit into the CRM elements and kind of talk about some of the more fundamental concepts of the CRM and why it's important to real estate investors, how you get started, etc. But then we dive into the newer trends and really one of the reasons why That Real Estate Tech Guy has come back is because so much is changing in technology. And Deal Signals is the second part of the podcast episode, and we really dive into that and how AI is starting to give real clarity for the type of deals you should be working on in your CRM, not just sort of working on everything, but on being very focused and intentional. It's a really great episode. Stephanie knows a lot about technology and has built it based on her deep and wide experience as a real estate investor herself. So enjoy the podcast. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to get more info on technology trends for the real estate investment community. On to the show. Stephanie, welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back. Welcome back to the podcast.
Do I get a jacket? Do I get a jacket like SNL?
I should get t-shirts or something, but absolute pleasure to have you back on the podcast. I think a lot about the times we spent together in Texas recently because we spent a lot of time talking about new developments. And honestly, one of the reasons I've relaunched That Real Estate Tech Guy as a podcast is there is so much movement in the technology space in the real estate investment sector right now that it felt like it's needed now more than ever with all the advancements. And so it's great to have you on because not only can you speak around a number of the core in real estate investor technologies, but you're also pushing the boat out on the AI front, which is hugely relevant. So let's kick off by giving a little summary of who you are. For those of you that don't know who you are, what you do, and what products you're representing.
All right. So quick background. I'm a real estate investor. I've been investing in real estate since 2007. Started a real estate investment company with my husband in 2011, like an official company with fix and flipping and then wholesaling. And then in 2018, merged with a third partner named Jeff, and we started new builds. So we do a couple hundred transactions a year at this point, and then been at it for a while, decade. We're getting up there in age, a little long in the tooth. And in building that company, I was a COO of that company for a long time. And building that company, I ran into lots of system issues and, kind of as real estate investors and as like the number of real estate investors that have entered the market and have participated in these transactions has grown. There, you probably know this pain just as much as I do, but there aren't really specific tools for us. So I had all that same pain with being an operator myself. And the short story is got super pissed that there wasn't a great CRM solution for investors specifically, and went off and built one. And that, taught myself how to code, pure rage coding. Now there's vibe coding, which probably would have been way easier. Like that then was rage coding. And anyway, we launched for Better Path Homes, and a few months after that, Salesforce asked to partner. And it's like, okay, well, this is interesting timing because I just had hired a COO to take over my role at Better Path. And I was like, well, this sounds like this could be interesting. It could be fun. Like, let's see what happens. So that was January 2020. And that's when Left Main REI launched. And it's been a roller coaster ever since. We've been growing a SaaS company. So lots of learnings, but also like really deep industry experience that has informed how we build product. So kind of my mission is, helping real estate investors do more transactions and have better visibility and better business ops for their companies. And so that's kind of what Left Main specializes in.
Absolutely. And what I love, the experience that you bring to the table as an investor, as someone who had to you figure out the tools they needed, build the tools they needed, and now as you see more and more people using your platform, being able to listen to them, see other
Yeah,
perspectives, and get that feedback and continue to develop it. I think that's a real powerful element to that. And it's something that I actually think that this sector, the real estate investment sector, benefits a lot from the fact that where there are technologies that are pushing forward, most of them have been built by people on the ground
yeah,
solving problems for themselves.
yeah,
And so when you solve a problem, you're solving problems because this is a problem. This has been a pain point for you. And now you're solving problems for the hundreds of companies that use you on a daily basis. But that's just an exponential addition to kind of what you started out as doing.
exactly. Yeah,
So, I think there's two topics I really want to talk, kind of dive in today. Because, and I've no doubt you're gonna come back on the podcast again a number of times because I think there's so much to talk about. But there's two sides I really wanted to focus on, and one is the CRM side, one is the AI side.
yeah.
They are twin. They are very much, joined at the hip. But let's just first dive into the CRM element because, people. I am a huge believer in CRMs. You and I have talked about this over and over and over again about a good, the bad, the ugly. But we do still get a lot of people, I still hear people and go, well, I use an Excel spreadsheet or, well, all of that. From your perspective, in that journey of a real estate investor, when's a good time to start looking at your CRM system? What is the trigger that really says you need to start investing in a system like this?
Such a good question. And I think I'll answer it by first backing up for a second because I think there's a journey of real estate investment companies. And like I call the CRM like Act One. And then we can get into like how we leverage AI and grow and scale with Act Two and Act Three. And I think couching it like that helps me articulate why we've done what we've done too, because I've followed that same journey. But Act One is really CRM. And then why it's so important is because it's a centralized hub for your business. And I think as you exit and as you try to exit too, the hobbyist, like, oh, this is proof of concept. I'm an investor. Hey, I think I can do more transactions. I can see how I can do this regularly. I can do multiple transactions a year. I think I can grow this. I might be onto something. Maybe I can leave my W-2 job, right? You have this immediate need of having business operations when you're trying to exit and when you do exit. And CRM is essentially the foundation for all of that. You have to have a place where everybody exists and works, right? Like there's no file system externally anymore. It's all digitally. It's a cloud. And it's a place for all of your team members to work, whether they're in person or whether they're, in the Philippines call center, the whole gamut. So you need a centralized place for people and you need a centralized place for process. And that's exactly what CRM helps you do. And once you've kind of stabilized on that and you have these repeatable processes and just a way of doing business, now you can unlock scale and insights and, efficiencies, et cetera. Like now you can grow really, really quickly with some core concepts, but you can't really do that when you're using a lot of disjointed systems. And so like to your point, some people have spreadsheets, some people have literally handwritten notes. They're using their cell phones, like, or maybe they have a website that's like has a Google Voice number, or like a call, like they're using weird things and they're totally disjointed. And that will keep you small and that will keep you chaotic and that will keep you from actually organizing. So the key is to connect them all. And that's why, I think the phone integration and why we've developed such a great relationship, because that is hand in glove also with CRM in our industry because we're on our phones, right? So all that needs to feed into the same system so that your team has all the information that they need and they have all their process in one place.
Absolutely. And so, you know, I think one of the things that I always try and explain, I think you put it perfectly. It's not just about putting a central place for data. It is about the efficiency of the process. And it's about running those processes. It's about making things efficient, and it's about automation,
Yeah.
which you're never going to get if you have a Google sheet and and I mean, forget sticky notes, but a Google sheet or something like that. Okay, that's
Yes.
step one. Maybe it's just me and I'm just trying to get off the ground. Great, use a Google sheet, organize your thoughts. The moment you're trying to get any sort of traction and move, doing more than a deal a month, trying to maybe get a cold caller in from the Philippines or Egypt or the South America, whatever, that's when that system stops being a nice to have and starts being a killer if you don't have it and an
Right.
accelerator if you do.
100%. So I
And
think we all have to center on that.
and in terms of like, if you were when you think, before we move on to the AI front of things, which is something I definitely want to touch on today because we're gonna probably have more and more conversations around this. But when it comes to someone bringing in Left Main, for instance, um, if you think about sort of where you see the biggest impacts for people moving into a CRM. Um, my view is it's around things like making sure the follow-ups are done properly. And like it's not just, it's rarely just organization. It's
Right.
actually it's like, oh, I kept forgetting to do follow-ups. Now my system automatically sends a text.
Right, exactly. That's where the process comes in. There's a repeatable process, right? So we start augmenting humans who are only capable of doing so much and should be doing the highest revenue activities, which is talking to homeowners or talking to investors or talking to buyers, right? So the CRM, once you're migrated on there, you have everything connected. Now it can do a lot of things automatically, automatic drip sequences. You're not going to remember, especially as you launch, you're not going to remember to follow up with 100 people the way you're supposed to follow up with them, let alone when you have 1,000, several thousand, 300,000. There's literally no way a single person can remember that. So there's lots of cool things like task automation and text automation and email automation. So things are happening, and then you're responding now to inbound responses. So this kind of starts developing a process. So an example process would be what should happen when a new lead is created. Like we should call them right away. We should text them, email them, we should follow up with them until we get a hold of them. And then what? Okay, now they're qualified. Great. We do this next. Now they're not qualified. What do we do when it's not qualified yet? What if they're not ready yet? Okay, well, now we put them in a sequence. We put them in a follow-up cadence, right? So that develops this internal process for your entire company. And then the idea is that the system helps you uphold it so that you are accurate when you're doing it, like that you actually follow the process, that we are not relying on memory, which will fail you probably past 15 contacts, right? So absolutely a huge component of this is automation that couples with the process that you're trying to build for your company.
Well, and I think not only will your memory fail around that, but there is no question that real estate investors, a lot of them are shiny key people, right? Like they get distracted by the next
Mhm.
opportunity. And one of the things that I have seen hold true across hundreds of investors that I've spoken to over the years is this desire that is they treat new leads more important than existing follow-ups. It's like the number they care about are the new leads in their system, and so they're always focused on that, and they miss the fact that they've got gold sitting there that if they were only working properly, they would be having to worry less about piling in new leads because you've got so much sitting there. And I think that's something as well that, a system like Left Main can ensure that you are not letting all of that hard work, all of that money, marketing money you've spent generating leads go to waste by forgetting about, maybe you call them once, twice, and then they sort of go over here and maybe you come back a long time later, well, that's a really big waste of money compared to a rigorous approach to making sure those leads are followed up on. And I think that's a huge part of where a good system left main comes into it.
Exactly. And I think that that's a natural progression where you're like, oh my gosh, now I have all these leads. I need to concentrate on new leads. And you become a victim of your own success. Right? And then you literally cut your nose to spite your face because you're distracted by all the inbound stuff, which is extremely valuable. And you're like, hell yes, it's finally happening. My marketing is working. People are calling me, right? You get super excited about that, but then your goal that, as you very accurately described it, is now getting dusty and like potentially even getting taken by other people because you're dropping the ball there. The inbound phone call is not a guaranteed sale. The inbound phone call is fantastic, but it might be somebody who has a house listed that's tired of it being sitting on the MLS. Meanwhile, your follow-up lead is going into pre-foreclosure and you have no idea because you haven't called them. So there's this false, um, I won't say it's not completely false, but there's this illusion that inbound is the only thing you possibly need, and like kind of the natural tendency to discard the stuff that's in follow-up. And that's only because people don't have great systems. If you have a great system, the follow-up is happening automatically and triggering you automatically, and then you are responding to these signals just like a inbound phone call, right? It's something for you as a human to respond to. If we can make follow-up just like that, hey, now we're in act two of like your company of scaling and efficiencies and like a visibility into who I should be talking to, who can I actually do business with, right? So it's cool how things kind of layer like that very naturally once you get started and systematized.
Now, I'm sorry to interrupt this amazing conversation, but I wanted to make sure you knew that Smartphone, the only phone system built for real estate investors, connects to the best-in-class real estate investing CRMs. And because, as it's my show and I am co-founder and chairman of Smartphone, I got some great deals for you. Click the link and take advantage of 5,000 minutes free calling with Smartphone, the only phone system built for real estate investors. Click and call. Close more leads. Back to the show. Well, that's a good segue into the second topic that I definitely want to cover today, because this year, you and Left Main have launched a brand new product inside of your ecosystem,
Yeah.
called Deal Signals. And again, riding the inevitable wave of AI. People can say whatever they want. AI is here and it's here to stay. Like,
Yep.
we're done. The game's won. It's over. It's here. And like, you can pretend it isn't, but you're wrong. I'm gonna put my flag down and say you're wrong. And there's huge power in it. And with real estate investment, I think we are at the tip of the iceberg of the power that we're going to have over the next 24 months.
Mhm.
Talk to me a little about Deal Signals, why you did it, and what that's bringing to your platform.
I I'm so excited about AI's entrance into our world. I think it's a magnifier, it's a multiplier, and if you harness it properly, it will do that for your business. So I think there's kind of two ways to look at AI. One is conversational AI, which can be LLMs like, ChatGPT, or voice AI agents, text, calling, etc. And then there's AI that you can use to crunch data, right? So the position that we've taken at Left Main is, hey, our secret sauce, our magic comes in the system and in the data. And the beautiful thing that happens once you've adapted a system and a CRM like Left Main is we gather an incredible amount of data, right? You as a company have an incredible amount of data in there and it's gold, your phone calls, your notes, and then, these homeowners' names and addresses, right? All this publicly available information plus all of your very, very proprietary information has billions of data points. So how can we crunch that and predict who's going to sell their house and who are you the most likely to buy from, right? So it's kind of twofold. So we've taken that, like, how can we use AI to do that, to predict and to crunch all those data points. So we haven't really gone down the conversational AI piece at all. I'm happy, like, we'll collaborate with you on that. You can solve the voice thing, which is fantastic. We're gonna do the data thing. So essentially what Deal Signals does is kind of our act two. right? So we've done the organization, we've done the systems and processing, we've augmented humans. Now let's predict and serve up to our humans who's the most likely to sell. So a couple ways we do that. One is we know who's not going to sell. And we can put our flag on the ground there. The person who's not going to sell their house to you is somebody who already sold it. So we have this automatic cleansing of your database of your CRM that will mark the things that have sold as close lost, and it'll tell you who bought it and for how much. And you can see exactly which investors are buying your deals from you and how far off your offer was. So there's a bunch of things you can gather just from that. A lot of efficiency, of course, and not wasting your time, but then also really valuable insights. If there's an investor in my market that's buying deals that I had in my system, that sucks, but maybe I could just figure out what they paid for it, and I can do some math and make a new friend, and I can start selling you some deals. Like, here, let's collaborate. Let's collaborate on some of these opportunities, and everybody makes money, right? Especially if they're paying more than I am. And it also gives me a lot of efficiencies with my sales team. Like, was I just plain wrong and what I thought this house was worth, right? So that's one half, and the other half of the coin is, okay, I know who sold and we're cleaning things up, but who's going to sell? Who am I about to miss out on? And so what we've done is taken all the public data sources, and it's pretty much a commodity at this point. There's only four really major data providers in the US. And then we have county level information, tax assessor level information, and we crunch all that public data that's being reported on a homeowner or property, like foreclosure, eviction, probate, vacancy, absentee owners, tax defaults, just to name like a couple. We take all that public information and we enrich your CRM with it. So not only do you have your proprietary information in there, but we're going to layer on this enrichment to say, hey, this person that's been in a follow-up sequence for the last 500 days just got an auction date to foreclose on their house. Meanwhile, you've tried to call them one time every 30 days. They haven't picked up. You've checked a box and you've moved on, right? So like your follow-up is sucking. You should try harder. Call this person, door knock them, send them a piece of mail, right? Like, send them something special, like, do something more for this follow up because they just got an auction date. Meanwhile, you would have lost that deal had you had not had that information because they just didn't pick up the phone and talk to you. So we have lots of cool stuff in the background that's crunching all this information and knitting together really disparate real estate information, which is kind of our world, right? Data is everywhere, but it's also really crappy data and it's incomplete data. So we've spent a lot of time knitting it all together and making single line threads into individual companies' CRMs, into their Left Main orgs, and serving up, this is your hot list. So all this fancy stuff happening in the background, you as a person, you get 10 people to call today. These are the 10 most likely people.
And to me, that's like one of the most important parts about this whole conversation. The engine that does things is sort of irrelevant to the end user. I don't really care how the sausage is made. I just want the best sausage. And so what I was really excited about when I first heard about how you approach deal signals is, of course, syncing that data in, telling me who's already sold so I don't waste agents' time and all that. That's great. But this idea of drilling down to like, these are your most important deals to work on right now, I think that's really, really powerful. Because that's really if you're focused on exactly where you need to be and you're not distracted by noise and you're not losing the will to live by trying to chase down 50 deals and none of them seem to be there anymore, that's real power and focus that'll only grow as you start to do more and more activity.
100%. And it's a paradigm shift, right? It's something different for a workflow for these folks, which has been interesting. We have, the wild majority of our customers who have adopted it. They're like, this is literally changing our game. Like, it's changed the way we follow up. It's changed our company too, Better Path. And then my husband now runs that completely while I run Left Main completely. But it's changed that company too. Like, we don't do follow up the same way. We were used to this task list and like calling these just calling these people and like, it sucks, right? One person picks up versus, hey, these are 10 most important people to call. So it's changed that workflow, and the people who have adapted it, which, we've tried to make it as easy as possible. So the major majority of people have, and they're doing more deals, setting more appointments. Like it's so much more effective. And it's funny, we have one or two people who are like, hey, this hot list, this is distracting. I'm like, distracting from what? From your crap follow-up?
From
What do you
yeah,
mean?
distracting
And
from all the time you wanted to spend over here.
right, right, which is really like this is different. Like it's distracting my lead managers. My well, it should. It's like a phone ring. You're like, hey, the phone's ringing. It's too distracting. I need to do my follow-up. Like, wait, what? No, it's you need to adapt it into the workflow. You need to let this augment you as a human. So it's funny too, like how the change can be almost counterintuitive before it's intuitive again, right? But it's been super fun to see how it kind of changes the follow-up game and makes you more effective. And we have this internal dialogue as real estate investors, like I've got to call 100,000 people. I need a list. I need 100,000 people on a list because I've got cold callers. I need to keep them busy. They all need to hit their numbers of X amount of calls per day. And you get lost in the sense of like maybe you don't need 100,000 people to call. Maybe you need one person to call 100 people, and that's it. Like there's kind of this what's happened over the years. I think we've kind of fed this beast. I need to mail 100,000. I need to mail 30,000 people a week so that I can hit this number. So I hit. Well, what if no? What if there's so much waste? Like, what if you wasted all that to get that one phone call? What if you just what if you sent 1,000 mail pieces instead to people that were actually more likely to sell instead of just papering the town, right? And so there, like, I can see like the wheels like kind of get it, like we don't have to do that. You don't have, like you can be more effective and more efficient, and you're not going to break the system. You're actually going to make way more money because you need less overhead, you need less waste. You have a very effective people like list to call. Concentrate, let drip sequences and automation and lead agents and let the systems like let the computers do the rest. But you as a human being and all the human beings on your team need to be extremely effective and efficient. And that's the beautiful thing about these companies that we run. We can have 8-figure companies with 10 people on them, right? Like that's almost unheard of, especially when I talk to, some of my other SaaS friends that were talking about, technology and who our customers are and what kind of revenue they do. I'm like, no, our customers do incredible amounts of revenue with very, very small teams. We're kind of this combination of like a small business but like enterprise level, revenue. And that's because we can use tools like this. So it's funny to see kind of like this transition of thought process of like, I need to hit these really big numbers. I need to feed the beast and coming down to like, no, you don't. The beast is actually a cash eating monster and you need an ATM. So just go to the ATM. Don't feed that monster under the bridge. Right. So that's been a really cool, lots of really cool conversations around that, challenging that paradigm.
I think that's great, and I mean, you would think that as the phone provider where people are making all those calls, I'd want people to make more calls. And the truth of the matter is, I've always preached make smarter calls, not more,
Well, you want
because
duration. You
it,
like we all want duration of calls. I
I,
want them to talk to somebody.
yeah, I've never understood why when people are, their approach where they, buy as much bad data as I can and just throw it all against the wall and hope it sticks. I've never understood that approach. I've always warned against it, and I think now with the intelligent tools we have, we are moving to a place where smarter is going to outweigh harder.
Well, I mean, in that same vein, it's risky to make a million phone calls to people who don't want a phone call or you can't help. I
Super
mean,
compliance risky.
that's what I mean. Exactly. So if you didn't have to make all those phone calls and expose your company to that risk and you called less people that had longer duration phone calls because they're the right person, you could actually help them, then your overall risk goes down. And that's what we want. We don't want you to like just make a bunch of bullshit phone calls. I want you to have great conversations and I want you to do more deals. Right. So like I think that alignment is great and it's less risky on the legal side.
Well, Stephanie, we're coming out of the end of the podcast right now. I like to keep it short and sweet for everybody. I have no doubt you're going to be back.
I can fire it up. I can
A
talk about this for 2 hours.
Yeah, well, I have no doubt you're going to be back a number of times as well. And I'd like to actually this season, one of the things I'd like to do is start putting together panel podcasts more as well. I was thinking like Steve Trang, our friend,
Yeah.
doing an AI podcast together, the three of us, and try and push out that, because there's so much. At the end of the day, we're all in the same space. We're all trying to help our customer base. But before you go, I just have three questions that I always ask people to answer. I had 5 last time I did this. Now I've got whittled down to 3 because 2 of the other questions I used were, well, honestly, shit. So I took the opportunity to improve them. But the 3 questions I want to, yeah. So number 1, what is the biggest mistake that you see made with real estate investing technology?
Underestimating customer success and customer experience.
Okay.
There's a whole podcast just for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that'll be episode 10. What's the best advice? What is the best advice you have for someone who's trying to start integrating real estate investing technology into their business?
1, you're already winning because you're thinking about integrations. If you are a point solution that is not thinking about integrations, you've already lost. You have to integrate with other tools. It is the key to success. So number 1, you're already winning. And then what now? How do you be successful with that integration? Truly deeply understand the problem that you're trying to solve for the customer. I think if you felt it yourself, then you're already winning, but like truly understand what this does for the customer and their end game, and that will help you make a successful integration.
And the final question I have is, if someone comes to you and they're just starting out in real estate investing, what 3 technology products would you recommend they start with?
CRM, phone system, website.
CRM, phone system, website. I'll take it. Well, listen, Stephanie, I'm going to ask you to send me some links for how people can get you. Where can they find you? And we'll drop the links in the show notes.
All right. I'm on Instagram. You can find me at Steph Betters. And my website, leftmainrei.co. Come hang out. Come find me. I'm on social somewhere. You'll see me.
Fantastic. Well, listen, it was an absolute pleasure to have you back on the podcast. I'm sure we'll have a number of episodes coming up over a little while. I do encourage everybody, please do go check out Left Main and Deal Signals. And if you'll be able to book a call with their team to find out how both of those products can impact your real estate investing business. Thanks a lot, Stephanie.
Thanks for having me, Jordan.
Thanks for listening to another amazing episode of That Real Estate Tech Guy. Head over to thatrealestatetechguy.com to check out all episodes and get special discounts on tons of awesome real estate technology platforms.